where black men get together to discuss, debate, even argue about relevant topics of the day from a black man's perspective. Whether it's relationships, sports, politics, religion, nothing is off limits, nothing is out of bounds. So put your big boy pants on, grab you a cup of coffee, and let's get into some bold, dark, but unsweetened dialogue. This is Black Coffee Talks with your host, Rodney Cork. Let's get it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Black Coffee Talks, where black men get together and engage in bold, dark, and unsweetened dialogue. I'm your host, Rodney Cork, and I am excited about the topic we have today. We are breaking ground today. We have with us Mr. Mark Schultz, who's the Vice President of Priority Risk Management. Mark has been a great friend of mine. He's been my business mentor, in fact, and he was so happy to come on the show. I told him it's funny because the Black Coffee Talks podcast, we have black men talking about bold, dark, and unsweetened dialogue. But today in the Black Coffee, we got a splash of cream with us here today, amen. And Mark is going to really be there to help us describe this subject. So, Mark, before we get into the topic today, I really want you to just take a few minutes, tell the people what you do and what Priority Risk Management is all about.
Absolutely. First, Rodney, thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor to be here today, especially to be the first cream in the black coffee here. So it's been a pleasure working with Rodney. Rodney's taught me a lot about business myself, probably just as much, if not more, as I've taught him. But I'm the Vice President of Priority Risk Management. We're an independent insurance agency based in Fishers. We have two additional offices in South Bend and Columbus, Indiana. And we offer a wide range of insurance products, primarily auto, home, business, and also life insurance, group health, Medicare supplements, things of that nature.
Well, Mark, we're glad to have you on the show. We're going to jump into it because, you know, my background has been in banking and finance as well. And one of the things Black Coffee Talks is really about is educating and helping our people. And so we want to talk about finances, financial literacy, wealth building, all those type of things. But it's not a black and white issue. It's a green issue. And so I need everybody to relate to it. And so the thing, I'm going to start off with a question for you. As far as basic financial insurance needs, what would you advise people some of the basic things they need? Do they need a life insurance policy? Do they need checking account? They need a money market, CDs? What are the basics? We're talking lower income or people that are building, younger people that are building wealth. Where do you start with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing that you hit on there, Rodney, is education. Education is the biggest thing that we try and relay to our clients and to our prospective clients. We try and educate them and find the right product for them. On a basic level, though, everyone by state law is required to have auto insurance. So you've got to have auto insurance. If you rent your home, the landlord often requires you to have renter's insurance. So those are things that you're required to have. Life insurance, everyone should have life insurance as well, but that's not required by anyone. But life insurance is a vehicle that you can use to pass wealth to other generations because of the tax benefits. When you pass away, that money goes to your heir tax-free. Mm-hmm. Okay. And a lot of people don't realize or understand that. Okay. Additionally, if you have a home with a mortgage, you're required to have home insurance. You know, you're very familiar mm-hmm. with that, Rodney. So, in businesses, if you employ people, if you have any W-2 workers, you're required to have workers' comp. Okay. If you rent business space, the landlord generally requires you to cover to have liability insurance. And then same thing on the business side. If you own vehicles in the business name, they need to be insured by the business.
Okay. Appreciate that education, but I want to jump right into it, so I'm going to push and stir you up a little bit.
Okay.
When I look at the African-American community, the minority community, one of the biggest things I see as a financial professional that concerns me is the lack of people having adequate life insurance. Life insurance just doesn't seem to be a priority to people that I deal with, people in this culture. But life insurance is so important. I get sick and tired of seeing someone pass away, then the family's got to scramble, do a fund me account to try and pay for the funeral expenses. Kind of talk a little bit about the importance, the need of life insurance, and where somebody that doesn't have a lot of income can start with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's stir in that cream.
Yeah, let's stir it up.
So life insurance, a lot of people, it's something that no one likes to talk about. No one likes to think about their death. And, certainly life insurance, the biggest thing with life insurance to understand is it is not for you. Yes, the policy is on you if you're taking the policy out as you. But it's for your children, for your spouse, for whatever loved ones you want to leave your money to. It's for them to continue their lifestyle. So with life insurance, we kind of have a simple equation to determine how much life insurance you really need. So you want to start with your debt first, your mortgages, your car loans, student loans, credit card debt. You want to add that number up. Then you want to take your income, how much income you want to replace. Mm-hmm. So if you've got 20, 30 years till retirement, how much income do you need to replace? There's an education piece and a child care piece. Mm-hmm. So if you have young children, you need to have enough to cover the children to go to daycare, school, college, whatever.
Okay.
And then, of course, you have your final expenses, which is not a fun term, but
but it's necessary
and very costly too. So, you add all of those numbers up, and that determines how much life insurance you need. And generally, if you have life insurance through an employer, it's only 1x or maybe 2x your annual salary. Mm-hmm. And right on the policy, it'll say that it's secondary or supplemental life insurance.
I mean, I have that myself. I've got additional life insurance, but I've got life insurance through my job, and that's exactly it. It's 2 times my annual salary. Well, that'll pay for final expenses and maybe pay off a few debts, but then my wife will be on her own, so you have to have additional insurance. But here's what I want to get into. I'm talking about the common man. Talking about, Steve and Keisha. They're married. They both have regular, not too high-paying jobs. They got 2 kids. They're struggling to keep bills current, do everything. Steve, unfortunately, passes away. What's Keisha supposed to do to keep going? She can't afford the life insurance that the numbers say she should have.
Yeah.
But now she's faced with final expenses right off the bat. She's faced with trying to keep the kids in daycare. What type of policies or how should someone in that situation start off so that they don't get hit with this burden?
Absolutely. That's a great point. And a lot of people that think that life insurance is very expensive. There's a lot of products out there now. So really, when you think about life insurance, there's permanent products and there's term products, right? And so term, the way I always think of it is you have to expire before the policy expires. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool. Again, life insurance is weird.
It is what it is.
But term policies are the most affordable. Mm-hmm. So my advice, if people have trouble making ends meet, would be to go with the term policy. It's the most inexpensive. And then if you can't cover, if you add all those numbers up that we discussed and it totals $2 million, then run a budget and find out what your budget can afford to pay for life insurance. And if you can only afford $500,000, then $500,000 is better than zero.
Exactly. Okay. Love that there. First of all, let me take this break here. This particular episode of Black Coffee Talks is sponsored by Priority Risk Management, where they deal in life, home, auto, and business insurance. All your insurance product needs, they can take care of Priority Risk Management. Make sure that you check them out for your insurance needs. Mark, I thank you, and we want to get back to this part there. So we're talking about probably the way to start would be term insurance. But then where do you go from there? There are term policies. They can go 10-year term, 20-year, 30-year term, different. They're probably not as expensive as some of the other life insurance. But after you've had the term for a little while and things are going good, and Steve and Keisha have moved up a little bit, and now they have a home in the suburbs there, and the kids are not in daycare; they're in regular school, public schools and everything. Where do you go from there? What do you do at that point?
Absolutely. You can always buy more life insurance.
Okay.
You can also convert a term product, a lot of depending on the product, but a lot of them have a convertible feature that when you get close to the end of the term, you can convert it to a permanent product.
Okay.
Again, it varies by which company you go with and whatnot, and they have different features. But you can always add more. One thing I would strongly advise against doing is ever canceling a life insurance policy.
Why so?
Because life insurance gets more expensive as you get older, right? So it's if you buy life insurance at 30 and then at 40 you want to buy a new policy, that new policy is not going to be less expensive than the first one. So might as well keep that policy in force and add additional. We do a lot of people do a thing called laddering. So if you are a young man or woman and you're starting a family and you buy a house, right? Typically you have a 30-year mortgage. And so a 30-year term product makes a lot of sense because, you want to pay off the house and you got to get your kids through school and replace your income. So you might do a 30-year policy for, let's say, the amount of the mortgage, right? And then let's throw on top a 20-year policy. So you kind of stair step them to where, like early on, that's when you have the most need for it. But as you get older, those policies fall off.
Okay.
And you don't have, then it's not as much of a financial burden, paying the premiums each month or each year.
Awesome. I want to get back to what you said, though, about making sure that when you have the insurance, it's cheaper to buy it when you're younger as opposed to when you're older. So going back to my hypothetical couple, Steve and Keisha, they're in their mid to late 20s. They get married. That's the time for them to really buy life insurance in the 20s as opposed to waiting they feel they can afford it, right?
Absolutely.
Kind of go back and talk about that a little bit because I think that's one of the dynamics that a lot of people in my culture and generation miss. They don't feel they can afford life insurance in their 20s. They're working, trying to build it, but you need to make that sacrifice and buy it then as opposed to waiting. Kind of talk about the importance of that again.
Absolutely. So when you're younger, I mean, the life insurance is going to be the most inexpensive at that time. And so
Why so?
Because you're furthest away from your death. As you get older, your health starts deteriorating and you get closer to dying. So when you're younger, it's a 30-year term. If you're 20, how old are Steve and Keisha here?
Let's say they're 26 and 28.
So 26 and 28, if you add 30 years to that, 56 or 58, Steve and Keisha probably are going to live past 56 and 58, right? Standard average male lives to about 73 right now. Females live to 77. And I'm sure this is the same with Steve and Keisha. Keisha's probably a little smarter than Steve, so she probably makes better decisions, and that's why that's why women end up living longer lives.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, insurance, whether we're talking life insurance, auto, home, business, it's all a form of gambling, right? How much risk are you willing to retain yourself, and how much are you willing to transfer to an insurance company?
Okay. Awesome. And then we're going to talk about wealth building. One of the things that life insurance can do is help you build wealth to pass on to future generations. I wish somebody had told me this when I was 26, 27 years old because, I'm at a point now, I'm 57 years old. I do have some life insurance, but it's hard for me to get additional life insurance because life is life on me, okay?
Yep.
Now I've got diabetes, I've got high blood pressure, different things that affect my rates. And if I'd have bought it in my 20s before I had all that stuff, I'd be in better shape now. And so with the life insurance, though, not only can you get it cheaper when you're younger, but talk about how you can build wealth with life insurance to pass on to the others.
Absolutely. So that is, when we're talking about building wealth through life insurance specifically, you would be looking at permanent products. So generally, if we just break it down in a broad sense, there's whole life products and there's universal life products. Okay, so let's think of whole life as kind of a safe way to go for a permanent life insurance product, right? Generally, it's a fixed rate of return that you get on it. So essentially the way it works is part of your premium goes towards the life insurance policy, part of it builds your wealth. that money you can take out with if life gets tough and if you have a divorce or you lose your job and you need to access that money, you can access it through that life insurance policy. Your premium payments stay the same on a whole life insurance policy. Universal can be scary if it's not done correctly.
Okay.
What we've seen a lot of times is people don't fund because you almost have to overfund a universal life policy, because as you get older in life, the premium payments get higher, and as you get older in life, generally, if maybe you retire, you don't have any income coming in, and then you see that death benefit start to gradually decline, and it ends up working in the wrong way. Okay. So I'm a strong proponent of whole life, because I myself am not educated enough on universal, and my main focus is I want to educate people on the products that they have. And if I'm not comfortable, it'd be like me trying to sell a mortgage. I don't know how to sell a mortgage, so I'm not going to do it.
Okay. I want you to hold that thought. We're going to take another commercial break, but then I'm going to put you on the spot. We're going to stir up the coffee here, so get ready.
All right, I'm ready.
Again, this episode of Black Coffee Talks is sponsored by Priority Risk Management, where they have life, home, auto, business, all your insurance needs. You want to make sure that you check out Priority Risk Management for any insurance needs you have. Also, we're sponsored by 2 Cups a Day Cafe, located in the P30 complex on North Post Road. Anytime for all your beverage, coffee, latte, tea needs, they've got it. Always check out the 2 Cups a Day Cafe, because there's no other way when it's a 2 cups kind of day. Amen. All right, Mark, I'm back to you. Now we're going to stir up the coffee, really get into it. I'm going to put you on the spot. I really wanted to have this episode. I was excited because I want to educate particularly African Americans. One of the things that, I am one, so I can relate well to African American people. But I know we don't spend enough time educating ourselves. We don't spend enough time knowing this information, really learning the game. And that's why a lot of times we get left out of the game, I think. But I want to talk to you as a Caucasian man that's putting the cream in our coffee and everything. Do you see in the business in there, your business there, a lot of African Americans or just minorities in general come in uneducated on the process? There's a stigma that rates are higher for African Americans than they are for other people as well? I want you to speak to that. Is that true? Do you see that? And what's the best education or best advice you can give to African Americans to make sure that they're keeping up with the game?
Oh, geez.
Stir it up.
That's a lot.
Let's start with the rates. Are rates higher for African Americans than they are for
No, rates are not higher for African.
Really?
So gender is not, or not gender, ethnicity is not a factor in calculating your insurance premiums.
Okay, let me hold you right there, because, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but what I've heard, African Americans tend to have higher rates of high blood pressure. There's a risk of sickle cell disease. There's a risk of all type of just being killed and different things like that. They injure mortality earlier. So I've always heard that rates are higher for African Americans based on those kind of factors. Have you seen that?
Okay, so health problems, it's not tied to race, but health problems absolutely affect your life insurance rates. Or I can't speak on health insurance, but I'm assuming that health factors, because I just don't deal with health insurance myself. But life insurance, no, it's all based on your medical history.
Okay.
Now, I think really where you're going, and I don't think we're gonna have time to go down this road and whatnot, but really it's more of a systematic issue, I think, with unfortunately in the African American community. I think there's a problem of either lack of resources or lack of education, or all kinds of factors that go into it that, it goes much deeper than insurance rates. Okay. I think personally.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that there's some more change. And I think a lot of things that are happening here in P30 are great for the Black community.
Absolutely.
And I think just you and I and everyone else doing our part of helping to educate people, so they can do. I would say if you want to help your rates, the biggest thing that you can do is pay your bills on time. If we're
So
talking
credit affects your rates?
credit affects your auto and home insurance rates. It's a
Wow.
big factor.
Okay, I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah. So credit's a big thing. If you've been with a company for a while, stick with them for a while. The longer you've been with the company, that helps your rates as well.
Okay.
Another thing is carrying higher liability limits. I'm kind of going away from life insurance here, but if you have higher liability limits, that generally helps your overall rate.
Okay.
If we're speaking about life insurance, the best thing that you can do is not be a tobacco user.
Okay.
You're going to pay a lot higher rates being a tobacco user than non-tobacco. And then otherwise, just take general good care of your health. Good diet and exercise. If you're in good health and have seen a doctor in the past 6 months, a lot of life insurance companies will do what's called accelerated underwriting on your life insurance.
Okay.
That's a big fear too, is that people have a medical exam to get their life insurance and they're like, I don't want to go see the doctor. But if you've seen your doctor and you're in good health, you can skip through the underwriting and they'll issue a policy really quickly for you.
Awesome. That's good to know. Well, I appreciate you tackling that topic. I know I put you on the spot there. I see you sweating a little bit here, but you made it through it there, and I know you would. You're a great man, Mark, and I appreciate it there. We're going to take another commercial break, then I'm going to come back with the final drop to wrap up this topic. Again, this particular episode is sponsored by Priority Risk Management, where they can cover all your insurance needs. Please see them for your home, auto, business, and life insurance. Priority Risk Management is the company for you. Welcome back to Black Coffee Talks there. This is the final drop. I want to give my final thoughts on the topic. First of all, I want to thank Mark Schultz for being a guest on the show today. Very good job, very great insurance agent. Please make sure to check out their agency for any of your insurance needs. We talk about financial literacy, wealth building, in particular through insurance. I really wanted to tackle this topic because as a financial professional and a black man in general, I see this being a problem within our community. Too many times I see GoFundMe requests, or I see appeals on Facebook and social media asking people to help raise money for a funeral. That should never be the thing that we suffer with within our community. We need to make sure that our financials are in good order, that our final expenses are prepared for, and that our families are taken care of after we pass away. And the only way to do that is to invest in your family through purchasing life insurance and having other financial products in play. I know it's expensive. I know we have other expenses and things we need to do, but as black men and black women, it is imperative that we educate ourselves, find products that are going to take care of the future generations so that they don't have to struggle with the things we struggle with coming up. Yes, there is systemic racism involved. Yes, there's all type of problems that we have to overcome and obstacles we have to go around in order to get to where we are. We're behind in the game. That's just the way it is, but it doesn't mean we quit. Doesn't mean we give up. We've got to find ways to stair-step our way up till we can complete and make sure the future generations are taken care of and we don't have them struggling the way generations in the past do. That's been it for this episode of Black Coffee Talks there. I thank you all for tuning in. Please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to us, and we'll be coming back with more episodes where we have black men going into bold, dark, and unsweetened dialogue. I'm your host, Rodney Cork. Thank you for tuning in this week, and we'll see you then. Until we meet again, may God bless you. May God keep you. That's my prayer. This is Black Coffee Talks.